public engagement, you will be required to make the accommodations to and amendments to what is being represented therein.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, could the Honourable Minister confirm if he's indicating to this House that as it relates to updating of the policies, whether sport, youth, or culture, because when you look back in 2022 and 21, there is a similar indication of policy updated or to be updated. Is the Honourable Minister essentially saying in 2021, 22, and 2023, the ministry has not updated any of the policies that he made mention?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Comrade Speaker. So what and the Honourable Member would know this too, is that though the cultural and sport policy didn't exist. It didn't exist. And it was an elaborate process that required us to have a comprehensive engagement as well as a comprehensive submission. So even though we had set targets on getting the consultation done and the preparation that led into the consultation upon completion, because of the decision to make it a far more comprehensive policy that caters for many, many areas that were never originally included or even contemplated. And I want to take the opportunity to say how elaborate the process has been. I'll use, for example, the sports policy, of which there is a 12-member working committee, and of which there were just in last year alone, starting in March or April, in April, that they had 15 meetings, for which there were, upon completion, 86 pages covering 28 topics. And I want to, for the honorable members' benefit and for the benefit of the country, to go through some of the areas, because I wanted to just give an idea about the nature of of what will be included in the policy, which hitherto never was part of the policy or never was part of the contemplation. And that is why, and some of which catered for what transpired during COVID, because what we saw during that time was a very serious mental impact that connected to what happened during COVID. So we had included in this, I want to just touch on some of the topics, the business of sport, and maybe we can have the copy brought down here in the meantime. The business of sport, disabilities in sport, fun and entertainment, health and well-being of athletes, mental health, physical activity in sports, the minimum standards for community grounds, minimum standards for sports disciplines, minimum standards for traveling teams, never ever originally contemplated in any policy. And I just wanted, for the sake of clarity and comprehensive awareness of both members in the House as well as the public, this is what was completed from our 12-member team. We also have the nexus with sport and sports organizations and their policies, sport in school, sports academy, sports awards, incentives and prizes, sports and media, unity and social cohesion, women and girls in sport, all of which, and there's a lot more, but I wanted to just touch on some of those areas to get an idea of how the the framework of the sports policy has changed and why it took so much more time. Having said that, for people who are connected to the area and have been part of the composition of the committee, and they've had an extensive career in sport, they have been extremely satisfied with what has been presented so far. And we are looking forward to having the public consultation this year, which we will have at our sports conference. Included in the sports policy. So it was an elaborate process, and we are very pleased with the process that we initiated and then the outcome, because we wanted this to be the sports policy that represents the country, where other countries can now take our model and use it as the basis of either enacting their own or tailoring their own policy to reflect what we would have included.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I will now put the question. Honorable Member, Ms. Flubes.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Following up on what the Minister just gave us his response, I would like to know what areas of expertise this 12-member committee is made up of. And secondly, the areas in which you identify the policies all can be found in the syllabus for physical education and sports in CAPE and CSEC. So I would like to know if there is a physical education teacher or teachers on that committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman, and thank you very much, Honorable Member. So, a composition in a curriculum is not the representation of a policy. First of all, this is guided by the National Sports Commission Act. It is clear in express terms as part of the provisions that because of the nature of the engagement and the structure, I should say, between the National Sports Commission and the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, which it's a government agency, there must be a sports policy under which they must conduct their affairs. So it's not whether you have the curriculum or whether these topics are covered in the curriculum. It is a governing body at the sport level that has a legislation, governs its affairs, which requires as an express provision for a sports policy to exist. And what is the function of the sports policy, so that we are clear? That the directions coming from the state actors, the government actors, in this situation, the head of the sector would be the minister. That in the provisions says that they must give directions of a general nature to the National Sports Commission, but the composition of through the sports policy. So I will get to that, but there was a two-part question. The two-part question was, one was in relation to their area of expertise, and then the second is that all of these topics are contained in that. So I'm saying that even though the topics are contained, it doesn't mean that it forms part of a sports policy. Having said that, I just wanted to answer the first part of the question. I don't have their CVs on me. All of them have had extensive careers in sport and also sports training. We will be publishing that when the time comes, and they will be part of the public's consultation, of which we will invite the honorable member to participate as well.
Thank you very much, honorable member. Honorable member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I want to take the minister back to the indicators because he hasn't given a specific answer whether yes or no. Based on these indicators, it states, as I went back to 2021, 22, and 23, that in terms of policies that will be updated by his ministry, whether in culture, youth, or sport, it's an indication that the target is 2. And I'm asking the minister again, because it is reflected in 21, 22, 23, and here again in 24. Essentially, the minister, are you saying that in 2023, this target of 2 that you set out to achieve was not? And the second question is, the minister's response seems to be focused exclusively on sports and not culture or youth. And again, in his indicators, it has 2 policies. So is it sport and sport are the 2 that he's referring to, our sport, and which is the other policy that he's making reference to, or he has not made reference to, rather?
Thank you very much, honorable member. Honorable minister.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I think if the honorable member was paying attention, I said at the outset that there were 2 policies. It was culture and sport. And we have completed the cultural policy. Again, it now requires us to now take that into the consultation process. So, no, if that's false, we have completed what we are required to do in terms of its framing, its submission. We now take it into the public consultation, which, having said that, I know very clearly, and I can pull up all of the articles that are connected to the statements made by the APNU AFC administration during their tenure about the cultural policy and the sports policy, which was never completed. Those were, thank you, I'm glad he said that that was a fact. We have completed what we were required to do in relation to getting our draft done. Now we take this into the baptism, and the baptism will happen this year. So we are satisfied with what we have been able to either update or complete, and then take it into consultation this year.
Thank you very much, honorable minister. Honorable member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Finally on this point, Chairman, could either the Ministry of Finance remove yes to achieving in 2023 the completion of 2 policy, because this document in 2021, 22, and 23 is misleading. None of the policies are not completed, and therefore you can't put it as a target that has been achieved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, honorable member, for your comment. I will now put the question, which is that the sum stated for Agency 44, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports, current expenditure, Program 441, Policy Development and Administration, stands part of the estimate. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The sum stated stands part of the estimate. I will direct members' attention now to pages 216 and 217, and I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 44, Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, current expenditure, Program 442, Culture, stands part of the estimates.
Yes, Chair.
Honorable member, Ms. Flubes.
Thank you. I would like to turn the Honorable Minister's attention to 6284, And under the performance indicators, the culture, it says updated legal framework in areas pertaining to the preservation and conservation of our heritage. Can the Honorable Minister say what legal framework is expected to be updated?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Chairman, and thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. So last year, we set a target to review the National Trust legislation. And we didn't only complete the review, we also were able to complete a draft legislation. This new legislation, of which has the approval for tabling by the cabinet upon its review and submission and tabling to the parliament. We completed our review, we completed a draft legislation, and this new legislation, completely new legislation, will be tabled in this House in 2024 for debates, consideration, and then ultimately passing.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Flubert.
Just wanted to say this too before I conclude, because this area of the National Trust is extremely important, because we have not done a good job at first of all examining the legislation that governs the National Trust, which was passed since, when was it first? In the first legislation that was passed since 1972. And as we become a more prosperous country, having the power to preserve our heritage through the identification of monuments and giving the support to keep it maintained or to restore it, that becomes extremely important as we move forward in our development. It also functions as an area where the heritage itself becomes an opportunity for monetizing a particular area of tourism in the country. We have some particular areas that, like Fort Island and Fort Zealandia, lots and lots of areas where already there are attractions where people, both local and international, they come to the country, they want to get an idea about our heritage, they want to get an idea about our history, which incidentally is extensive. It is rich in one way, but also represents a period in human history which is marked by some of the most heinous bits of activity. And that is one of the reasons why it was extremely important. Having done the review, we realized that there were so many areas that were missing under our National Trust legislation that lacked government power that is necessary for us to advance the preservation and protection of our heritage.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, Ms. Flubert.
Thank you, Covered Chair. I'm just wondering if I will get back some time, seeing that my questions are specific and require specific answers, but I'm getting a lot of extra information. So I'm just wondering. Moving on, line item 6284 other. Can the Honorable Minister say if this under this allotted sum of 200 million, if the music industry, dance, drama, and arts will receive funding from under this line item?
Honorable Minister.
So the answer to the question is that the area that she refers to, the honorable member refers to, of dance and drama. This falls under 4 areas, of which Minister Frank, under his leadership, created the Institute of Creative Arts. The Institute of Creative Arts in 2014. And very, very important establishment in 2014, and covered 4 areas: art, which is visual arts, dance, drama, and music. Now, what is also important is that this was 2014, this was established, and essentially it functions as an academy where young people, they get an opportunity to be part of an institution which is state-funded, where persons who are admitted, they don't pay anything for the training that they receive. Government-funded, state-funded, for them to have that training. And under Minister Frank's vision and leadership, and the People's Progressive Party government back then, when this was established, there had been no move towards getting the institute registered through the National Accreditation Council, which would have been the absolute necessary step, so that when those young people are receiving their certificates, that those certificates that they're receiving are from a registered and accredited institution. So I had an examination of what transpired during that period of time, and I saw the statement being made by the previous administration on the Institute of Creative Arts. So they were of the view that this came from an article in 2017. It says on the caption, Institute of Creative Arts will be pursued. And in there, a sum of money was assigned for the institute to be accredited. Their view was that this should be done through the University of Guyana. Even though the University of Guyana is not an accrediting body. It is not in and of itself an accrediting body. So when we came here last year, during the same estimates, there was a discussion and an engagement where the opposition had told us, a particular member, honorable member of the opposition had told us, that we could not get this body registered or accredited. I said opposition. And we had about 5 engagements with the National Accreditation Council, of which I was in one of those meetings, and I have here the executive director of the National Accreditation Council, who's sitting in the chambers, and we had our assessment. They provided the standards, the criteria that was necessary for us to show whether we can get accredited or not. And on that assessment, we had satisfied more than what was required for our institute to be registered. Also, upon the establishment of our board now, that is where the registration of the institute will happen. And I want it to be very clear, because if the previous administration, the APNU AFC, had realized that the registration of the institute or the pursuit of this institute was important. There was no vigor or serious interest in its pursuit to take it towards completion. In fact, what in the very same article, which I will forward to you, Mr. Speaker, here is what was important for this House to know. It said that
Mr. Speaker,
Chief Whip,
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect to the Honorable Minister and his presentation, we accept and have no difficulty, like earlier with the predecessors, when they're making their answers, they give a little statement. But the Minister now is going into speeches for several minutes, sir, and we losing time. And it's very deliberate on his part. And he's not answering the questions.
Honorable Chief Whip, with due respect, I use that as a point of order and in order, but at the same time, we can't direct the minister how to answer. If he steps out of line with respect to the policy for which the allocation, I'll pull him in line. But clearly what is happening is we may have to now go back to standing orders and say questions should be of this length and answers similar. Honorable Member,
thank you.
Minister, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And I would want to expect, and I would want to believe that a comprehensive and extensive answer so that the public can be aware of the work of the ministry and our successes. And our successes are important. I would want to believe that the honorable member would want to believe and would want to solicit a response where I can give the description of what led us here, because otherwise they would not have known. How many people in the country would have known that the institute was created since then under Minister Frank, and that nothing was done by the APNU AFC to have it registered? Should it not be stated? Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, we have honorable members. We started ahead at 1:49, and it's a 1-hour allocation, unless the Chief Whip will tell me he adds. But once you make the statement, please let us see as many responses that we can get. Honorable Member. Honorable members, yes, we are still Honorable Member Ms. Nima Flubes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would have noted I'm taking time of how long I'm taking to get, and I'm still not getting the answers I asked.
The Honorable Member, there were some people shouting, "Bring back Frank, he's coming next."
I take that.
Go ahead, Honorable Member.
But based on all of the minister just went on to say, last year in his answers when my comrade asked about the Institute of Creative Arts, he said that this year, this line item, which is 6284, also caters for the completion of accreditation of the Institute of Creative Arts. But when you just spoke, it didn't speak to completion. It speaks of a coming soon process that is still ongoing. That is what I want to know. So, could the Honorable Minister lay over the disaggregated sum for the different areas that will be getting funding under this institution, this line item, sorry.
Honorable Minister, is this coming soon?
So the one thing that I won't say is that when it comes to the standards that are necessary for the registration of these institutions, which is required by law. Those are very elaborate standards, of which we were able to get that completed, so that all that is necessary is the establishment of the board, which we will do now. So I'm clear on that. And in relation to the disaggregation, I don't have the disaggregation. Actually, I do. So okay, so under this line for the honorable member, 6284, you have the School of Dance. You have $10 million. On the boroughs, you have $16 million. It's actually 10,151,000. 16,479,200. Under the School of Music, it's 15,662,000, and for the National Dance Company, you have 4.5 million.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
6294 order. Line item 6294 order. Does this allocated sum reflects the money or have the monies for Ipadji, people of African descent?
Honorable Minister.
Yes, so the answer is yes. This line, thank you, honorable member, too. This money is contained in this line, first of all, and the sum is the same for $100 million.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, I now put a question that the sum, honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 442 Culture current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, I invite you to turn to pages 218 and 219. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 443 Youth current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Thank you, Committee Chair. Line item 6284 order. What programs are listed under here for our youths, if any?
Honorable Minister.
Can the honorable member please repeat the question?
Line item 6284. What programs are covered for our youths under this line item?
Yeah. It's not programs that are covered here. This line caters for things such as payment for maintenance and existing IT services, payment for rental of skip bins, tents, chairs, training programs, and national events. It caters also for payment for bank charges, wire transfers, also things like advertisement for tenders, cleaning and sanitization cleaning and sanitization, payment of digitization of curriculum for the YEST centers, and then also professional services for development of tracer studies.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Thank you. 6302 training, including scholarships. Are there any scholarships for our youths to attend University of Guyana or any program at an accredited institution here?
Honorable Minister.
The honorable member, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And the honorable member would know that the training line where people, young or middle-aged or more mature can get support for the University of Guyana would come under the GOAL program, and it would be under the Ministry of Public Service.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flobes. Honorable Member, Honorable Mr. Mahipal.
Thank you, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, line item 6242. So I'm sure you have a very good memory like mine, and you would recall in 2020, I asked the Honorable Minister then on the capital for the completion of that youth training center in Den Amstel. And from then to now, I did see it, the zinc and so went on, but from then to now, no work or nothing is happening there, no occupation or the sort. Does this line item cater for the maintenance of that facility and the to lead to the subsequent occupation of staff and participation and utilization of that facility?
Thank you, Honorable Member, except I don't have a youthful memory as yours. Honorable Minister.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman, and thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. So this line caters for maintenance of buildings, and it caters for existing programs. So where programs that are existing in institutions or for buildings, maintenance would be done for those ones. In situations where you're looking to do the expansion, and when I say expansion, I mean the inclusion of additional institutions and facilities, that would require, as you know, capital injection. So it wouldn't be covered under this line.
Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Comrade Chairman, let me go to the indicators. Indicator number 3, number of youths 14 to 35 years of age trained by the DOY. The target in 2023 was 7,333, and we note the target for 2024 is 9,260. But when you go to indicator number 4, which speaks to the percentage of youths employed after the training program, we note that in 2021, the target of youths trained 4,477. The total number of youths employed after the training, 0%. And 2022, your target was 14,900 youths trained. The amount of youths employed after this training, 2%. Then in 2023, your target was 8,660. And I mentioned here now, the percentage of youths employed after this training, 15%. But I note in 2024, your target for training is 9,260. And the amount of youths that you predict going to be employed after the training is 100%. Noting your less than stellar performance as it relates to the percentage of youths that were employed after this training, what brought you to the conclusion that in 2024, this 9,260 youths will be employed?
Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman, and thank you very much, honorable members. So this percentage here is really referring to our institutions. And I think that we should make sure that is captured specifically so that there is clarity in terms of the numbers trained versus the numbers with who are going to be employed. So I'm focusing specifically on why we believe that coming out of our institutions, we would get 100% of our young people employed. We have established an engagement with the private sector that will be taking as many of our young people coming out of these institutes, training in the 4 areas and now coming on to be 5. carpentry, plumbing, electrical installation, and masonry, of which we reformed and now have, for the first time ever, and I really wanted to stress this, for the first time ever, despite the fact that these institutes have been in existence for a very, very long time, they have never issued a certificate that from CTVET. They have never done that, ever. So it was never accredited, never registered. We did a tremendous amount of work in the last year to ensure that our institute is now delivering to young people, when they complete our course, a CTVET level 1 program. CTVET level 1 program, which now can be taken to anywhere in the Caribbean once it's registered with CSME. So the answer to the honorable member's question is that from those institutes, because we have had that engagement with the private sector already on a number of occasions to say where the demand is and how many persons they are searching for in those areas, we are confident by the establishment that we would get them into employment. In fact, within the time that this was completed, the submission of this information to the Ministry of Finance, we were already able to get a number of them into employment. But yes, it is going to be a big jump for us to hit the target of 100%. But because we are confident about the demands in the market, we believe that it's something that we can secure.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 443 youth current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, let's turn to pages 220 and 21. And I propose the question that the sum stated for sport program 444 current expenditure stands part of the estimates. The honorable member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Line item 6291. National and other events. I would like to turn the Minister's attention to the performance statement and indicator number 3.
Honorable Minister.
Will this allocated sum?
Sorry. Go ahead, honorable member.
Will this allocated sum caters for the participation in the international events?
Honorable Minister.
I'm not quite sure what the honorable member is asking.
All right, I noticed 6291, the line item says national and other events. Does the other events involve, covers this area here, attending these international events?
Honorable Minister.
So the answer is no, but I think the honorable member, Christopher Jones, may be able to assist you in this regard.
Honorable member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Chairman, we go to the sports indicators. We have indicator number 6, yeah. Number of community sporting grounds upgraded. We have a number here, a target in 2023 of 251. And we note in 2024, the target is the same, 251. Could the honorable minister please name those grounds?
Honorable
Completed
Minister.
in 2023.
Yeah, I don't have the list with me now, but I would be able to do so for 2023. We've set a similar, exact number actually, because what we said is that we will continue to do this work in phases. As you know, and this used to be handled through the National Sports Commission. It's not handled there now anymore. That every ground, first of all, is different. But having said that, every ground has different requirements of development. And we're focusing last year, because of the demands coming from all the communities, we focused mainly on the ground itself and the fencing, mainly. Now, this year, we are going to be focusing on, once completed, we are going to be focusing on the pavilions, washrooms in alignment with our sports policy that we'll be publicizing.
Yes.
All of that will be aiming to conclude this year. And then ultimately for next year is where we focus on things such as lights.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. Thank you very much, Comrade Minister, for the information in terms of what work's going to be done on the ground. For clarity, sir, indicator number 6, number of community sports in grounds upgraded in 2023, 251. And the target for 2024, 251. Could the Honorable Minister please give us the name of the grounds for 2023 and the name of the grounds that will be upgraded in 2024?
No, I just responded. I've answered that question, Ms.
He's answered the question. He said, Honorable
For my
Member,
clarity,
Mr. Jones.
for my clarity, sir, could the Honorable Minister please, could the Honorable Minister please provide the answer again? I missed you. Sorry, my apologies.
We got distracted, Honorable Minister. In fact, yours truly didn't hear either.
So I said I don't have the names of the grounds with me, but
For
I can
Here.
for 2023. And
Would
the
you lay that?
explanation was that because we're doing them in phases,
Yes.
exactly the same grounds that you would have received the support last year, they're going to be receiving the support. Yeah, we're going to be receiving the support this year to do the additional projects that are required. In fact, I suspect that based on the allocation, and you would see the allocation that we made the announcement for, is that it'll be $1 billion. It is $1 billion. It means now, and that is by far the largest allocation that in any budget presentation that we've ever had.
Big up yourself. Big up.
So
Take a big up.
thank you. And you know just as well as I do that community grounds need that level of support. They need it. In fact, you can easily spend on a community ground in excess of $30 to $50 million. In excess of $30 to $50 million. And just to bring it up to a certain level, depending on its size and its usage expectation. Having said that too, there are a number of grounds that already have particular levels of development that won't require the scale of investment. And that's why we believe that we will surpass the 251 target. Out of that 251 target, though, I must state for the record, and I stated it during my presentation, was that we gave 100 Amerindian communities, the hinterland communities, we gave them $1 million each. And the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs also gave them another $100 million. So in total, 200 Amerindian villages and communities were able to receive $1 million for the support for the development of their ground. And we are going to continue to do that this year and every single year moving forward.
Thank you very much, Minister. Just for some time management, we have exhausted the 1 hour. In fact, we've gone over by 5 minutes. And the Honorable Chief Whip for the opposition has allocated the remaining 20 minutes of savings to this head. But I wouldn't deduct the extra 5 minutes, Honorable Chief Whip. So we're still at sport. And Minister, you seem to have peaked the estimates of a particular ground I'm involved with at $60 million for the minimum level acceptable. Yes. But you only give 10 out of the 60. Honorable members, Honorable Member Mr. Duncan,
Generous Speaker,
my good friend.
that is the same clarity that we're looking for. Mr. Speaker, on the same line item, I think there's a fundamental difference between upgraded and upgrading. I think one is past tense and one is a present continuous tense.
Yes, I
think
think
that's
your
English
grammar
language.
is perfect.
We have hundreds of grounds that were upgraded. They've already been upgraded or they're in the process. And that is the clarity we're looking for on this particular subject matter.
Thank you for
The honorable member is making a fair comment. So you can continue to upgrade community grounds. And for as long as you have a government here based on the system that we currently have, all of those community grounds will require support for upgrade. All of them. So the question is, was there an upgrade? Very simple. Was there an upgrade? And I know that you are saying English language is very simple, of which I would want to believe that there was an upgrade, very simple, in the explanation provided. So we're clear about the necessary investment, as the speaker just said, that on his ground alone, or when I say his ground, the ground that he's involved in terms of being part of the leadership there, that ground, which is already in existence, that already has facilities, that ground is taking $60 million based on the assessment that he just shared with us. So it means that you will always have, as a government, you will always have to put in investment into community grounds, which is, of course, the lifeblood of all communities. Was there the upgrade? And the answer is yes.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Honorable.
Thank you. So, Comrade Chairman, just a confirmation. The Honourable Minister indicate that the 251 grounds that have started upgrading in 2023 are rolling over into 2024, and the upgrading will continue. So could the Honourable Minister provide us with the name of the 251 grounds? And then I'll take him as well, while he's on his feet, to indicate the number 7, which speaks to the number of sporting facilities constructed in 2023, 5. Could the Honourable Minister please name those 5? And his target for 2024 is 6. Could the Honourable Minister please name those 6? So it's 3 parts. And if you lay over it, we find that's something.
Yeah, because 210, and if he takes 15 seconds.
Mr. Chair, we would cut Ministry of Health by half to allow the minister to read out the 251.
Honorable Minister, you have a challenge, so go ahead.
Thank you very much.
They love you, Frank. One wants you back, and the other one cutting you. So,
all right. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and then also thank you very much, Honourable Member, for the question. So I'll start first with the ones that will be completed this year, the 6, which will be completed this year. So we have the
Honourable Minister, you want to sit and pull the microphone close because you're height challenged.
I prefer to stand, but
Yeah, you have to bend then because we're losing your volume.
here, I'll speak a little bit louder if that is satisfactory. So we have 6 being completed this year. Those projects all started last year, which would be the construction of multipurpose halls in region 1, the construction of the multipurpose hall in region 3, the construction of the multipurpose hall in region 7, same for region 8, the same for region 9, the Cliff Anderson Sports Hall, and then the construction and completion of the table tennis and badminton building at the Racket Center. So those are the 6. The ones that we constructed in 2023 are for constructed, meaning the facilities that were completed for part of our construction, as well as the access to for people, new facilities. We had the track in Beira, that's one. We had the outdoor courts for the National Gymnasium, which was renovated. We also had the tennis courts at the National Racket Center. We also had the multipurpose facility in Albion Region 6. And we had also the squash building at the National Racket Center. So, and the internal fittings for those are actually happening as we speak, and will be completed in a matter of days. No, we don't have any more work to do. As far as our procurement is concerned, as far as our payment is concerned, we don't have any more additional work for us to do for coming out of this year's budget.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. And the Honourable Minister, sir, missed one out of the questions, 3 questions. The other one was, could he please provide us with the name of the 251 grounds that started in 2023, that roll over in 2024 to be completed? Could he
Honourable
please provide
Minister.
that?
And because I said I would have to lay it out because I don't have it with me. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honourable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 444 sports current expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honourable members, let us turn to page 512. And I propose the question that the sum stated for program 441, regional development, policy development and administration, capital expenditure stands part of the estimates. Honourable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. Project code 1205700 buildings. I note that it says payment, extension of building and payment of retention. How much of this allocated sum will be paid for the retention?
Honourable Minister.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman, and thank you very much to the Honourable Member. $1,972,000 will be paid for retention.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Same project code, extension of building. Which building is being referred to?
Honourable Minister.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman, and also thank you very much, Honourable Member. So the main building is cramped for space, and not just for personnel, but storage. And the building is going to be extended now to cater for more space for both personnel as well as storage.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Ms. Bess.
Project code 2506600, furniture and equipment. I see this is the status is new. So will the furniture and equipment be purchased for this new building?
Honourable Minister.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, along with other things like ACs and desktops and backup batteries and refrigerator, that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Minister. Honourable Member, Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. Line item 2506600, furniture and equipment. We note in the explanation, it speaks to 4 different items, one of which includes the completion of the recording studio. Could the Honorable Minister indicate what percentage of work has been done as it relates to the studio, and if the location could be named?
Honorable
Have we
Minister?
moved off of program 1 already?
Is that the same thing?
No.
Yes.
No, you do it. You do it one by
192.
one, don't you?
Honorable
He's
I
moved
jumped
off
the gun.
of program 1,
Yeah.
or do you?
Yeah.
441.
He's
Yes,
correct.
we're on 441 at
He's
the moment.
correct.
He
The
jumped
minister is
ahead.
correct.
He said he jumped in. Honorable members, since the Honorable Chief Whip is ahead, let us close this particular program. I put a question that the sum stated for program 441, Policy Development and Administration Capital Expenditure, stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, turn to program 442, Culture. Capital expenditure, and I propose a question that the sum stated herein now stands part of the estimates. Honorable member who had jumped ahead, we're there. No?
Thank you very much, Comrade Chairman. Comrade Minister, I turn your attention to line item 1205-700, buildings at some is there. And amongst the items listed includes a completion of a recording studio. Could the Honorable Minister please indicate at what percentage of work is done and where the studio is located?
Honorable
Yes,
Minister.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman, and thank you very much, Honorable Member, for the question. So that project was only started in December of last year. The location, as you know as well too, we have a recording studio here in Georgetown, which is used quite frequently by a lot of the performing artists and on Brick Dam. And many of the performers actually go there to use the facility to produce some of the songs that you hear produced locally. We've also expanded the number of persons who have their smaller scale types of studios, funded a number of them so that they can get their equipment, and they've already started to produce their own music. But in relation to the one that we're building now, which is another public one, is in Port Morant, and that's at 10%. But the building will be completed this year, and we will also have to cater for the outfitting of the equipment for the building.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flobess.
Thank you, Former Chair. Under the same project code, provision of community spaces for cultural performances. Where will these spaces be created and how many?
Thank you, Honorable Member. Minister.
Yes. So for these ones, we are starting with our consultancy to design community spaces for creative persons, and also to support the advice on their locations based on the criteria established. I'm unable to share at the moment the locations, because immediately after the passage of the budget, we are going to go out for the designs, as well as when I say designs, meaning the designs of the spaces. And based on that too, this will be subject to a cabinet decision on their locations, along with the other item that is listed in the volume, which would be for the art gallery and the museum. Having said that though, and I know that the Honorable Member might want to ask about that too. This is something that the President made a commitment, a public statement about, which is catered for in our budget. Those designs as well, we're going to go out to our consultancy for that. And we all have our own specific ideas about where it would go. That will also be subject to a cabinet decision. I just want to be clear though that we have not produced, created, constructed any museum, any art gallery of our own. We've taken buildings and accommodated spaces. For example, Castellani is an example of where the building itself was taken and used for exhibitions. Other buildings every now and again are used for exhibitions for art. We've done some work there so that young people can get training in relation to visual arts, but we have not done the construction of new spaces in relation to art, or for museums for that matter. And that is something that we believe that now it's important for us to do that. This area of culture is really an area of prosperity. It is a byproduct of prosperity, which has a lot to do with freedom of time and expression, freedom of expression and creativity, and the space to do that. So that's why the investment is being made here now. And it's very important for the public to know, as well as members in the House to know, that this is the first time that you will have such a large allocation on the capital side for culture. It has always been a much more heavy recurrent expenditure just to do a lot of our national and other events type of activities, patriotism, bringing the country together, etc. But in relation to our investment into new spaces, you've never had a large allocation, especially one that is even marginally near what we're doing right now. And we believe that now is the time to start to make that investment in the area.
Honorable Member, Ms. Nima Flubes.
Following up on what the minister said earlier, that they are going to be doing consultation and designs, and then they can decide where these facilities will be constructed. I would like the Honorable Minister to tell this House how much of this allocated sum will be used for the completion of the recording studio.
Honorable Minister.
So just 26 million. 26 million is to complete the studio. But that's to complete the studio. We still have to do the purchases for the equipment, which we're going to go out to tender now, so that once that's finished, we can then outfit the building and it can come into operation immediately, similar to what we did as an example of the doubles court at the squash facility, so that they were happening simultaneously. So you won't expect me next year, just so that we're clear. You won't expect me next year to have the allocation once the contract is completed, and that we're not forced to terminate and then go back out to tender for the completion of the studio. You won't expect to see in the allocation next year for the completion of the studio.
Thank you very much, Minister. Honorable members, I now put a question that the sum stated for program 443 Youth Capital Expenditure stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye.
Sorry, that was culture, not youth.
Sorry. Culture. 442 Culture Capital Development stands part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. Sum stated now stands part of the estimates. Honorable members, earlier today I mentioned the issue of the use of the telephones, and I was a bit distracted because there was one telephone that was being used in a very loud tone. So I had to be tapping on the desk to get the person's attention. Honorable members, we have 2 headings remaining, 2 programs. And the Honorable Chief Whip for the Opposition, I stopped the clock, has said we can take a few minutes from the Honorable Minister of Health's program. No? Honorable members, then Honorable members, we have now exhausted the time that we have added. So I'm now forced to put programs 443 youth and program 444 sport, both capital expenditure. And I put the question that the sums stated for these two programs now stand part of the estimates. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. Ayes have it. The sum stated now stands part of the estimates. On your behalf and my own, let us thank the Honorable Minister and his staff for a most interesting defense of the agency. Thank you. Honorable members, the Honorable Minister of Health has a large team. Recognize the Chief Medical Officer in that team. And we will have to sanitize this section too. So give us a few minutes to get this impressive team from the Ministry of Health in place. In fact, may be ready, but the chair is not. Honorable Minister, you only need two persons? Honorable Minister, PS and team, part of the team is here now. Honorable members, let me invite you to turn to pages 238 and 239. And I propose the question that the sum stated for Agency 47, Ministry of Health, Program 471, Policy Development and Administration, current expenditure, stands part of the estimates. The Honorable Member, Dr. Karen Cummings.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm happy to represent close to 50% of this population as I interrogate the Honorable Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, and scrutinize the budget 2024, which has a whopping $129.8 billion
Honorable Member, Dr.
for the
Cummings.
transformation of the health sector.
Dr. Cummings.
And so,
An observation. You know, when I started in politics, I said, once you sit in the National Assembly, because we are national MPs, we represent 100%, not 50.
Thank you for the corrections. Yes, Mr. Chair. Line item 6116, contracted employees. I noticed there's a whopping 43%, moving from 100 to 143. They are contracted employees. One would have thought that in terms of policy development and for continuity of the program implementation of your policies, you will want persons on the fixed establishment. So could the Honorable Minister say what's the reason for the increase, and if you can give the remuneration of the top 5 persons and the emoluments, the designation and the emoluments.
Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Honorable Member. Indeed, there's a increase from 100 to 143 under this heading. And the top 5 Employees would be the ministerial advisor, permanent secretary, director general, and senior manager, and the human resource manager.
Thank you,
What
Minister.
is
You have omitted the
Honorable
emoluments.
Member
Oh,
Dr.
sure.
Cummings.
The ministerial advisor receives $923,000. Permanent secretary, $799,000. Director general, $676,000. Senior manager, $484,000. Human resource manager, $454,000.
Thank you, Minister. Honorable Member Dr. Cummings.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Minister, do you have adequate staff in the light that there was a low percentage in terms of your implementation of the key strategic actions of the National